Thanks for joining me on Life and Surround. Today I'm going to do a bit more of an in-depth review of Peter Gabriel's latest album, I.O., late 2023. Finally, the album was released. I have the 2 CD, 1 Blu-ray version, and I really like it, and we're gonna discuss it. All right, so thanks for joining me. Here's the album without the OB strip. There you go. All right, so just a few things before we dig into I.O. by Peter Gabriel. Somebody pointed out to me recently, one of you viewers pointed out to me that this channel has hit 5,000 subscribers. And so now we're over 5,000 subscribers. So that feels like a significant milestone to me. And I really just want to take the opportunity to thank every single one of you who has subscribed. I hope you're all still watching, but I appreciate subscriptions because YouTube, the algorithm really weights importance on subscriptions. And then so I also wanted just to remind everybody, if this isn't the first Life and Surround video you're watching, then it's time to throw some likes, please. You can do it right now. You can do it at any time during a video. If you're sitting there thinking like, hey, I'm enjoying this, or hey, that was a valuable thing that I learned, or an interesting thing. If there's value here, and you feel it in the moment, I think that's the right time to throw a like. That's what I do when I'm watching my favorite YouTube channels. And then subscribe, ring the notification bell. Again, it helps the algorithm view this channel as important, and then you'll be notified. You won't just see my videos suggested when you go to look at your subscriptions. Like ringing the notification bell gives you a notification that there's a new video. I sometimes cover news like short-term pre-orders or just like discounts, like really significant discounts on, like a desirable release. So that's the value of the notification bell. I get some value, you get some value, and then leaving comments, even if it's just some encouragement, but especially like if you want to offer a correction or just like a clarification on some history that was a little murky to me. Sometimes I'm just passing along what I read somewhere, and it doesn't mean that the person who wrote that had the authoritative truth, right? Or whatever. And sometimes my brain just doesn't work super well. So I've said in the past that saying at least one wrong thing per video is sort of my shtick. So um, don't quote me on stuff unless I'm right. Okay. So there's my caveat to you. Other ways that you can support Life and Surround right now would be to go check out the Life and Surround Facebook group. Post things there, respond to Life and Surround posts there. There are often discussions being had there that I don't have time to translate to video. So you can learn more about surround music, multi-channel music on the Life and Surround Facebook group. And then I have a Life and Surround Instagram. I'm not super active on it, but if you're on Instagram and you search out Life and Surround, it would be great, followers, and then you can leave comments. That's a good way to you can message and give suggestions or make requests or whatever. So finally, you can be a Life and Surround angel. So if you have currently an album that you want me to review and I really haven't brought it up, maybe I couldn't afford it, or maybe I actually do have it, and just to make the request, just knowing that you want me to review it is valuable information. But then also, if I don't have it, you could send it to me, loan it to me. I will review it and give you whatever credit you want, or leave your name out of it if you want. I'll review it and then just send it back. So you can loan me albums for review. It has happened in the past. I have not owned everything that I have reviewed. And then also, if you don't have the album yet, you just want to make sure I review a new title, you could put my address for the shipping address of your order, and then I'll review it and then send it to you. So, and I would try to do those quickly. All right. So I'd review it and send it to you as quickly as I can. All right. And I don't know, if I ever get a wish list going somewhere, you could always, just gift something from the wish list, but I don't have that quite yet. But I am saying that because people have been giving me lately a lot of suggestions about how I should talk about how you all can support the channel better. So those are some suggestions. I do appreciate your support. And we're almost back to I.O. by Peter Gabriel. I just wanted to say that, hey, I haven't forgotten about this. I am intending to review Camel, the MCA and Decca Years, Airborne. There are 5 multi-channel albums in here and some concerts, I believe, in stereo probably. But then also like a lot of Stephen W. Taylor multi-channel mixing in this set, and then a considerable amount of Stephen W. Taylor stereo mixing for a lot of the bonus content. Okay, so this is a massive set, and I am trying to digest the book and the music, including stereo and multi-channel. In the meantime, I'm going to be trying to get to quicker one-off reviews like Richard Wright and like Prince and the New Power Generation and Rodriguez Jr. You know, I want to listen to all of these and get a review out. And for my fellow quad lovers, some Santana and John McLaughlin. Yeah, in quad. Yes. Along with Super Session. I have the quad mix of Super Session now. So whoever like left a comment recently saying SACD sucks, I mean, come on, I get that it is difficult to rip, but that doesn't make a format suck. There's some amazing multi-channel music that exists losslessly in an optical format for us. So we can own it, not streaming it. You're not taking a compromise on the quality. And a lot of those titles exist only on SACD. So yes, a certain element of it sucks, being super difficult to rip. I get that. Like the proprietary thing, you know, with DSD that Sony, it's not my favorite thing in the world, but it doesn't make a format suck. I'm really, really grateful for a lot of SACDs in my collection. It would be to my detriment if the titles that exist on SACD didn't exist. Okay. All right, so Peter Gabriel's I.O. A 2 CD Blu-ray set is what I went in for. It was less than $25. I like to play CDs out in my car, so I get some value out of all the discs. So this thing comes with a like a magenta CD, a cyan CD, a purple CD, and then a green booklet. This is Peter Gabriel's first album in over 20 years, his first album since Up, in fact. And this is my 5.1 SACD version of the album. I would say that this didn't sit as well with me musically as Us did, or So did, or the classic records before. So Up is a bit overlong, and it does sound plenty good, and it has plenty of interesting playing and thoughtful writing, but I felt like maybe it overstayed its welcome. It should have been shorter. That's about it. And pretty good 5.1 album if you can track this down, okay, out of print. And then just a quick summarization of Peter Gabriel in surround. If you have Peter Gabriel Live in Athens, a bonus disc is this Play DVD, and it's got a bunch of his hits with really like custom multi-channel mixes for a lot of the songs. All right. So anyhow, Peter Gabriel wasn't exactly dormant in those 20 plus years. He did work and released material for the Scratch My Back and New Blood projects. Certain tracks on I.O. reckon strongly to So, to the Us way of writing and presenting songs, the Up sound, and also has elements of the New Blood, orchestra choir thing going. So that's a blend of sounds that I'm all rather pleased with. So sonically, this record does sit very well with me. And in my opinion, this is delivered more effectively than Up was. It feels like a very appropriate length. It has a great deal of variety to get you through the 12 tracks. Throughout 2023, this album was released one song at a time, with the stereo mix of said song being released at the full moon, and then a stereo alternate mix and a customized Atmos mix were released at the subsequent new moon. So these songs were released on a moon cycle across a year, and they were released in order, I believe, like track 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on to track 12. So the album was finally released in December of last year after the last track had finally been released. So as far as I know, this is the only album in my collection that has followed an annual moon cycle like that, making this a cool concept to begin with. For each song, Peter Gabriel also collaborated directly with an artist. And so all of the imagery for this album, you know, was given attention track by track. This album features some long-time collaborators like David Rhodes on guitar since 1980, so pretty early in Peter Gabriel's solo career. This album has Tony Levin, who's been with Peter Gabriel since 1977, the Car album. He also plays with King Crimson, Stickman. He's played on Michael W. Smith records, like The Big Picture. I used to have that album memorized. Michael W. Smith, The Big Picture. I used to have that album memorized, if that tells you something about my upbringing, my past. So I might have to dig that out and look at the credits and listen intently for some of those Tony Levin bass lines. Not to mention Herbie Mann, and yes, Tony Levin is just like a badass on his instrument. Okay, he's just a badass. So always exciting to see his name in the personnel credits for an album. We have Manu Katché on drums. Again, a longtime collaborator with Peter Gabriel. Has also played with Sting and just numerous other amazing musicians. Like Peter Gabriel has total badasses as his core band. And then this album also features horns, not synthesized horns, but, you know, saxophone and trumpet and, you know, horns of various kinds, like played by, you know, horn players in the studio. And then there are also orchestral elements to almost every track. And then there are also choir elements credited quite often across this record. Mark Stent did the album mixes, let's say. Chad Blake did the stereo remixes. And this guy, Hans Martin Buff, did the Atmos mixes. Looking at his credits, he's mostly collaborated with artists or acts that I'm not familiar with, but Prince certainly pops out from his discography. And he has done an excellent, excellent job here. I'm on record earlier saying that I believe this mix is in just like Steven Wilson awesomeness territory for immersive, for Atmos mixing. It puts you just deeply in touch with the music of this album. Man, drums have a rich sound. Percussion is just highly discernible and is, you know, placed throughout the room in a way that really supports the music quite well. The Atmos is often home to the soundscapey works of Brian Eno, who has quite the presence on this record. Brian Eno of Roxy Music fame, has worked with Robert Fripp, and basically has worked as like a soundscape person or a producer with like just everyone on the planet. Like Brian Eno, like a lot of major groups, a lot of major top records have some Eno touch to them, either by influence or directly because he was working on the record. Like Genesis, like, you know, he did Peter Gabriel's vocals for some songs on The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. And so that's, you know, probably where he became associated with Peter Gabriel. So he's brought in on this project as well. So all of the three mixes, the original stereo mix called the Bright Side Mix, the stereo remix called the Dark Side Mix, and the Atmos immersive remix called the Inside Mix, all have custom musical qualities. There are musical credits throughout this album specifically for certain songs only. So like an additional acoustic part or some additional percussion or some additional synth work or even some additional vocals. So these songs, these mixes, the Bright Side Mix, the Dark Side Mix, the Inside Mix, they all have a lot in common with each other, but they also all have, some unique musical qualities. So it's not like, this body of work got recorded, and then just like the various mixing engineers just like muted certain things. That's not necessarily what we have here. Like there's a huge overlap of the musical material between the three versions, but there are some unique qualities that are noticeable, and that makes this very enjoyable. You get to experience this album really 3 different times, and it kind of maybe you can avoid album burnout that way. It's definitely kept the album fresh and interesting to me to this point, and now I've heard the record several times. I guess I should give like a couple of my favorites to get you started if you are not familiar with this record yet. I love the song Love Can Heal. It gets stuck in my head, and like my son was walking around the house humming it today after it had just played a while ago. Oh my gosh. The title track is infectious and, kind of an earworm. There are touching moments throughout this record. I will say that I think Olive Tree, like it pops out at me, at least in the inside mix and the bright side mix. I might give it a try on the dark side mix. It's sort of like how Call Me Al on Paul Simon's Graceland album, just is this like massive pop energy uplift. But that said, Call Me Al blends into Graceland a little bit better than Olive Tree does on this record. Like it just pops out at me. It's got like Phil Collins mid 80s, pop star energy, like, like with Earth, Wind and Fire, like, in horn support, just like, if you're gonna do that for like, a whole record, if like the record feels up, if the record feels up, go for it. I'm just not sure that I feel like Olive Tree really, really fits in this track sequence. But like I said, I'm gonna pay more attention to it on the dark side mix because I'm not sure there. And all in all, very solid record. I would have maybe toned down or rethought the inclusion of one track, but very, very, very strong record. I really, it's affordable. It's awesomely mixed in immersive. We have a Blu-ray with not a lot of bells and whistles. You get an informative booklet. I value CDs. I also love standalone Blu-ray releases, but this is just an awesome, awesome, awesome release. So it gets my recommendation. I will at least leave the Amazon US link because that's what I bought. But if I find like another link, like just from Peter Gabriel's page, there will be some links below, but you can also just, Google it. Peter Gabriel, I/O Blu-ray, you should find it. I think it's still for sale. I think it's still for sale. Let me check real quick if it's still for sale. Let me check because I care about all of you. I wouldn't trust like this $10 listing, but I'm seeing it for like 28, $24.80. So pretty close to what I bought it for. If it's on Amazon, it still exists. Yeah, with inflation, now it's like almost $27. But anyway, so it's still for sale. So we're not talking about some, out of print unicorn of an album that is just super hard to obtain. So like why talk about it? Maybe I'll do like a super duper out of print video soon. And then at least like what to look for. Or maybe a friend did a rip if it's just too expensive. Anyway, we have been talking about Peter Gabriel's I/O CD Blu-ray offering. I'm a fan. I hope you check it out if you have any interest. Either like you're a Peter Gabriel fan, you're an Atmos fan, or I've piqued your interest, in some other way. If the album is a new suggestion to you. So please support this channel by liking, subscribing, ring the notification bell, leave comments, share videos, join the Life and Surround Facebook, Life and Surround Instagram. It all helps. Eventually I'll have like my t-shirt store back up and stuff like that. I know a lot of people like the Life and Surround logo, and I'll take suggestions about merchandise actually. So it shouldn't just be me running Life and Surround. I need help from all of you. Okay. And all of you do help. Your comments do help. Your participation does help, especially the encouragement. I do this because like it feels good. So I hope you all have enjoyed this video, that those with any interest will enjoy Peter Gabriel's I/O, either in Atmos or stereo. And until next time, I hope we all can find a way to live life in surround.